Hello, sir.
Supraba, you can just mute yourself.
Uh,
Like
Good morning, all. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Am I speaking to Supraba?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We're
Yeah,
speaking to you.
Supraba, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
Very happy to hear your voice after a long time. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm happy
Okay.
to be
Mm.
talking to you, ma'am.
Welcome to our department to meet our students. Very happy, Supraba. Hope things are going well on your side.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Everything is fine here.
Okay, okay. Uh, and good morning, students, and the coordinators, Dr. Karthien and Mr. Nandakumar. It's my pleasure to inaugurate this alumni talk series. Uh, this idea we have got it from Dr. Karthien as he came to discuss about we have about alumni talk series. During discussion, he was telling that we need to have a constant touch with our alumni, and he only mentioned Subraba and other guys. I'm very happy, and our students compared to their batch, current students are very lucky to have interactions to share their experience. I know Suprabha she in college days, not only academics, she used to participate in all the activities. She used to lead the activities. She has done a lot of things apart from academic. That's why, as you might have seen her video, a few days back, we have posted her video that she had got placed in 4 companies. And after that, she pursued higher studies in good universities. So that now she is in good position. And what we both thought, Karthien and myself, why can't we have the expertise of Suprabha and to discuss with students? It should be a motivation talk. How because now the IT students are they become nervous, restless because of this COVID-19. So they are very panic about the future. So to overcome this kind of issues, what we thought how to build a resilient career, even though lot of things coming, they have to come up with all kind of such issues like COVID-19, how to sustain themselves. So the Suprabha will be the right candidate because her journey starts from PSNA to Google. It is really a good experience for you guys. Make use of this opportunity, and from today onwards, this kind of series will be continuing for the for the betterment of our students. Hello, make use of this opportunity, and I should thank Suprabha, even though due to this heavy frustration period, and she came forward to interact with the students. I thank you, Suprabha, and thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan, for arranging this kind of event. And I wish you all the best. And Suprabha, keep in touch with us. And when you visit India, visit our campus, and
Sure, ma'am.
you have to come regularly to our campus. We miss you. A few days back, I discussed with the faculty member also about you, how we have your experience. They have said about you about your candidature in this department. Very happy. And again, thank you, Suprava. You can continue your speech with our students. Students, make use of this opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Karti.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your intro. Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm very happy to be here today to be talking to all the juniors. This is the first time I'm getting to interact with the juniors, so I'm really excited to be doing this talk today and to be able to share all the experience that I've gained over these years with all of you. I hope it is of some use to you. So I'll start the talk.
Suprabha,
Yeah, yes, sir.
Suprabha, before your talk, definitely our students should know about yourself. So, shall I have a brief intro about you?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Go ahead,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Okay, so good morning, um, all of you present in this alumni talk series. I welcome our head of the department, Dr. D. Shanti ma'am, for this alumni talk series. I welcome our management, principal, and college alumni coordinator in their absence here. So before we are going to start this alumni talk series, I wish to introduce our speaker, Ms.Supraba Muruganandam, software engineer, Google Mountain View, California, United States. She born in Temple City of Tamil Nadu, Madurai. She has completed BE in Computer Science and Engineering from PSNA CET in the year 2015. During her 4-year studies, her passion is coding. She is a winner of Codage, Code Maniac, C debugging. All these competitions are held at national level. She has also represented at ASEAN ICPC Asia Regionals, the world largest programming competition. She also got 5th place among 200 plus teams in Indo-US Robo League 2014, a national level robotic competition held at IIT Bombay. She got 4 full-time offers in Cognizant Technology, Wipro, Inotex, and Zogo Corporation in campus recruitment, and 1 internship offer in Inotex. After her graduation, she started her career as a full-stack web developer in Zogo Corporation, Chennai. She worked with Zogo Customer Relationship Management. After a year of experience, in August 2016, she joined MS in Computer Science and Engineering in University of Florida, US. During her MS, she has been awarded Graduate Student Achievement Award for her academic excellence. She worked as a graduate researcher in Intelligent Health Lab, University of Florida. Her expertise are machine learning, web technologies. She has developed various projects in a team and individually. Some of the projects are Twitter simulator, real-time Twitter sentiment analysis, etc. Currently, she works as a software engineer in Google and built a set of Google-specific services and APIs that multiple Android apps we depends on. We are very proud to have Ms.Supraba with us in this alumni talk series to share her view on how to build a resilient career among our students. In this talk series, I hope not only PSNA CET students, the students from other colleges also they are available. I welcome the participants from other colleges also. So now I'm handing over the session to Supraba to interact with the participants. Supraba, you please proceed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you for the intro, sir. I'll start presenting. Um, okay. So today I'm going to talk to you all about how to build a resilient career. Yeah, as ma'am told, it is important during these times, to actually have good set of skills in order to survive. I can talk a lot about under the umbrella of building a resilient career, but I'm going to actually walk you through how to get interviews and how to clear the interviews of tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and other such companies. And in order to prepare for these interviews, you definitely need to build a set of skills. And these are the very skills that will actually help you get through these tough times. I hope there isn't going to be another pandemic, but even if we have to face other tough situations like recessions or something else, having a strong set of skills, which I'm going to talk about, will definitely put you in a good spot, and then will make sure that you're not affected by any kind of situations like this. So please make sure you pay attention to the talk. I hope all of you gain something out of it. But before we begin the talk, I want to know how many of you here want to work for tech giants? Of course, I'm not going to hear any of you, but I hope many of you here are going to be saying yes. But even to those who are not saying yes, I want all of you to know that 5, 6 years back, when I would have been one of you, if someone had told me that I will work for Google one day, I would have just laughed at them, because it was like something that was far beyond my imagination. It was my dream company, but I didn't know that I'll get there at some point. So you don't know, anything can happen, and if you're progressing in the right direction, you'll also be able to work for your dream company at some point of your life. Yeah. So with that, I'll just start the presentation, and I would like to cover different things in this talk. So right from how to get a call from these top companies, to the things that you need to do in order to prepare for the interview, and what are the things that are asked during the interview, and how you are evaluated after the interview. So we are going to talk about all of that. The reason why I wanted to share all of this knowledge with you is, when I came here to US to do my masters, I didn't know any of these. It took me like more than a year to actually figure out the process, and to actually get myself ready to do these interviews. So it took me some time. I came totally unprepared. But for my peers who knew all of this and who were actually well prepared, were able to secure a job much earlier than me, and the process was a lot more simpler for them. So that is why I wanted to share my experience, so that the journey is a lot more easier for you, and even it might be better. Okay. So first, let's okay, let's talk about how to actually get a call from these tech giants. So everything that I'm going to talk about in this talk are purely related to tech giants. IT companies operate a little differently. The interview process can be a little different. It is actually very different. So everything that I'm going to talk about is purely based on the tech giants and what these top companies are looking for. So the information that I'm going to give you today may not be relevant when it comes to IT companies. So please keep that in mind. Okay, first, uh, to get a call, you obviously submit your resume. But I'm going to talk about the things that are important in your resume. First and the foremost thing that is most important is internships, or not just internships, any kind of experience, be it even if it's like research internship, or you're doing it in a company or something else, some kind of experience that is going to have more value than anything else. For example, if you're going to apply for a machine learning engineer role, and if you have done a machine learning internship, it is going to outweigh everything else on your resume. So if someone finds that you have done a machine learning internship, then obviously they're going to call you for an interview. So that is like the topmost thing on the list. So if you can secure good internships, that is like a very good thing. And then hackathons and competitions. The reason why I put that in the second place is that it is a way for you to actually build something quickly. And it is also nice to put those in your resume if you happen to win those competitions and hackathons. And these days, these hackathons and competitions are also sponsored by some companies. So if you are able to get a prize, you even directly get internship offers. I mean, not internship offers, you get interview calls from these companies. So that is also a good way. If you're really good at coding or building something quickly, then definitely do participate in these, and try to include those in your resumes. That is definitely going to attract the person looking at your resume. And then projects. Projects is the next most important thing. It's very important for you to actually build something. It's not just important for you to learn. Learning is important, of course, learning is important, but if you can't showcase or prove that you have specific knowledge, then the companies are not, like they don't know how much of it you know. So make sure you always have good and quality projects on your resume that you can talk about. And then courses. So I would actually recommend that you do some courses from good websites like Coursera. It um, like it's important that you actually do good courses. Like if you're doing courses in fields like machine learning, deep learning, or say virtual reality and all of that, then it adds value. But doing a course or a certification in say a programming language, I don't think it's going to add much of value. Like if you're going to do a certification in Python, I think these top companies don't care much about it unless you're going to use that to build something. So make sure you pick the right courses. Just doing some random courses in certification and adding that to your resume is not going to add much value. Make sure you do like the ones that you think will actually future proof your career, which seem to be trending. So pick the right courses and make sure you complete them. And one good thing is that as a part of the courses, you even get to complete more projects. So that is also something that you can add to your resume, and which is very good. And doing these courses and certifications is alone not enough. It's also important to actually apply that to a project, or do something with that. If you are able to do that, then you are able to showcase your skill to a whole new level. Just telling someone that I know this and I know that, and instead of just telling them that, if you're going to actually prove it to them in the form of some experience or in the form of some project, then obviously your chances just increases by a huge percentage. And then learning more programming languages again. So when I was in college, I used to think like, you know, if I learn more programming languages and add a lot of languages to my resume, then my chances of getting a call just skyrockets. That was my thinking. So I used to add all the programming languages, even if I was not well versed in it. I just used to add it, like C, C++, Java, Python, blah blah blah. I used to add, but it is good to add that. But what is more important again is that you build your experience around it in the form of projects and internships. That is more important, because each and every day we are in the field of computer science. There are new programming languages, new frameworks, new technologies, so many things that are coming in. So just mastering a programming language and mastering many programming languages is not going to help you a lot. It is important that you learn those things, but it's more important to actually use that to build something. So that is my point there. And CGPA, I get asked this a lot. What is CGPA important? Is CGPA important to actually get a call from these top companies? The thing is, CGPA is not as important as you might think. You need not be a gold medalist or a topper of your department to actually get a call. Of course, you need to have a decent CGPA, but what matters much more is again your internship and projects and your experience. Maintaining a decent CGPA is enough. You cannot be like academically like at the top to actually to get a job or to get a call from these companies. So CGPA does play a role, but to a minimal extent, much smaller. It adds much smaller value than compared to other things. Yeah, so that is all about resumes. So if you're able to build your experience around and focus on the things that I've told you about, then obviously your resume is going to stand out, and your chances of getting a call definitely increases a lot. Now, I'll talk about how you can prepare. So for these tech giants that I'm talking about, data structures and algorithms is like the most important skill that you need to develop before taking these interviews. You need to be really, really strong in this area in order to in order to be successful in these interviews. So I've listed out like different subheadings of the skills that you need to develop, and I've also listed some resources under them. Those are the resources that I have personally used for preparing for these interviews. But I'm sure there are more resources now which might be even better. So don't stick to these. Make your research and look for better resources as well. But I think if you even if you rely on that, you rely on the things that I've mentioned in this slide, it should be pretty sufficient. Yeah, first I was talking about data structures and algorithms. Yeah, I'm sure many of you know about this book. It's a very popular book, Introduction to Algorithms by CLRS. I'm not asking you all to actually read that book from cover to cover. It's a really big book, and I don't want you to go through the whole book. That is not required. But make sure you get your theory right. Yeah, so pay more attention in your data structures and algorithms classes as well, because it's very important for these interviews. And also use this book as a reference whenever you want to suppose you're solving a problem related to arrays, and you don't know a concept, then you can just go read about arrays in this arrays or sorting in this book, and then try to get strong with the theory. Yeah, and then the other things that I did were actively participating in online coding platforms like Codeforces, CodeChef, HackerRank, TopCoder. I just found these and then I started like participating in online coding competitions. Like they have like weekly coding competitions. I started participating in those and I found it really interesting. So whenever I had some free time, I used to participate in these. These platforms did play a lot of role in me getting more interested in coding, and also strengthening my knowledge with respect to algorithms and data structures. So they have also played a huge role in me developing my coding skills. And for the interview specifically, I've relied on two things: cracking the coding interview book and lead code. Um, Maybe most of you know about this, but for those of you who don't know about this, um, cracking the coding interview is like the first thing that you have to like go through before you take the interviews of the top companies. It is like like the ABCD, I would say. You make sure you like complete the book and go through everything. It has like it tells you what to expect in the interview, and also it has a lot of questions in the most frequently asked data structures. So it's important for you to go through that in the background. And then lead code. Um, did someone unmute? Kumar, can you please mute your microphone? Thank you, Kumar. Yeah, and then lead code. Lead code is a very good website. It has a huge collection of questions that were previously asked in various interviews. So you can also find questions on different topics. For example, there are like all the questions under topics like arrays, dynamic programming, heap, and all of that. And you can also find questions, on like based on the company. So, for example, you can look at all the questions that were previously asked by Google. And also each question is categorized as easy, medium, hard. So when you practice in lead code, you can start with easy questions. Once you feel comfortable with solving easy questions, then you can go to medium and then hard and all of that. So if you like if you're specifically preparing for the interview, then these two things are very, very important, and it has helped me so much with my interviews. Cracking the coding interview and lead code is like the it is not just for me. It has helped many people in preparing for the interview. So make sure you start preparing from these things starting from now, so that even if you're going to take the interview in a couple of years, you'll be all prepared to face it. And then design. A lot of emphasis is not on design interviews, at least for new grads. So you people are right out of college, and so you don't get a lot of design. At least you don't get a lot of system design questions. It is usually for the people with a lot of experience. But some companies might ask some system design questions, but make sure before you interview for these companies, you talk to your recruiter and find out if you need to prepare for system design. You know? If the recruiter tells you that you might be asked system design questions, then rocking the system design interview, it's a very good place to prepare. But it's usually not asked. I did interview for uh, like almost all the top companies, and I never got asked any system design interviews, system design questions, because I was right out of my college, so I was never asked that. So probably you also won't be asked. Yeah, but I told you that system design questions won't be asked, but you will be asked object-oriented design questions. For example, you can be asked questions like design a parking lot, or design a library management system. So you might have to create different classes and different functions. So they'll give you a set of constraints, and they'll see how you are able to build that system. So that will be there, but they won't go deep into system design questions. Usually for new grads, that doesn't happen. And then your core CS courses are also very important. It's important for you to get all your core concepts thorough, especially networks, operating systems, DBMS, data structures, and algorithms. So make sure you revise all of that before you go to your interviews, and also pay more attention to these courses when you're taking them during the college. And then finally, behavioral. Yeah, some companies do focus on behavioral. There might be a dedicated behavioral round, or sometimes these behavioral questions are asked as part of the normal interview. So there can be other coding questions, and part of that interview might also have behavioral questions. But generally, you need not prepare for it, for a long term. Short term preparation is enough. I usually, if I'm interviewing for a company, I usually go to Glassdoor, look at interview experiences, and then I try to find, some behavioral questions. But in general, you don't need a lot of practice for that. You just need to be, stay calm, and then be optimistic, and also try to provide examples as much as possible. For example, if they give you a situation and ask, how you would handle that, how you would show your leadership, you can cite an example from your past experiences, like maybe how you handled the project, how you led a team to win in a competition, or things like that. You can talk about that during your behavioral interview. It does not, as I told you, it does not need much practice. can just start preparing for that like 1 or 2 weeks before your interview. That should be sufficient. And then quants, aptitude, and verbal. Usually, for IT companies, these things are stressed. They have like quantitative and aptitude questions that you have to solve, all of that. But for the for all the top companies, they don't focus on this at all. You won't have any quantitative aptitude or verbal rounds. They're not going to have anything like group discussion or anything of that sort. um, of course, in your interviews, you're expected to communicate clearly to your interviewer, but you'll not have like a separate group discussion round or separate quantitative or aptitude challenge or something like that. Uh, so you don't have to prepare for that before your uh, interviews with these tech giants that I'm talking about. Okay, now let's talk about what's actually asked in the interview. Of course, not all interviews are the same. It can vary greatly depending on the role that they're interviewing for, and it can also depend on the organization or even the interviewer. Um, so some interviewers, like to focus more on the behavioral side. They sometimes even spend the entire interview asking behavioral questions. That has also happened. Some focus on resume. If they're really interested in the courses that you have done, or the projects or the internships that you have done, they start to dig more into that. So before your interviews, make sure you're able to answer all the questions. I mean, everything in your resume. No matter what question is being asked from your resume, you must be able to answer that. And of course, yeah, core concepts are also important. But what is more important is, like actual coding. Coding, you will all be given a coding challenge to solve. That will be the major part of the interview. It will even sometimes be like 90% of your interview. So we will talk more about it in the next slide. Yeah, so it is important that you practice your coding properly. And of course, depending on the role, if you're interviewing for a specific role, then you get asked a lot of questions that are specific to that role. For example, if you're interviewing to be a front-end engineer, then maybe there might be a lot of questions related to that. But if you're starting your preparation a year or 2 years before you graduate, then you need not think about all of that. Preparing for a specific role can be done in a few months before you plan to start your interviews. So those are the things that are asked during the interview. And how you are evaluated. So I told you that the coding challenge that they give you during the interview will be the major part of the interview. So I'm going to talk about how how that is evaluated, how the way you solve the problem is evaluated. So I'm also an interviewer at Google, and I've done a lot of interviews for new graduates and also people with experience. Um, what I'll tell you about what I look for when the person is solving the problem. So the first thing is the coding itself. I expect the person to write a readable, clean, and working solution. Um, let's say you get a really tough problem, which is really hard for you to solve. In that case, at least try to write a brute force solution for that problem. Yeah, make sure you write a brute force solution, and write when you're practicing. Try to write clean and readable code, and also try to handle as many boundary conditions as possible. It's okay if you miss a few things, but if you're missing some important boundary conditions, then that will not look good. And after you finish solving the problem, also look for errors. If you don't find your errors, and if I'm going to point out, see, you have made a mistake, or in this line, then it's not a good sign. You must be in a position to identify your own errors. And the next thing is data structures and algorithms. So when I present the problem to the person, I expect them to come up with a good algorithm and data structure to solve the problem. They might not start with like the most efficient or the most optimal data structure or algorithm to start with. I mean, like, yeah, to solve the problem. But I expect them to actually, like, propose something, and then like gradually try to optimize the algorithm and the data structure. And if you're able to provide me, multiple solutions, for example, I'm giving you a problem. Let's say you can solve that problem using two different data structures. And if you're able to tell me that, see, I can use this data structure, and using this data structure will have less time complexity, and using this one will have less space complexity. But here in this problem, we care more about time complexity. So I'm going to go with this one. If you're going to provide me multiple solution, and if you're going to compare the trade-offs, then obviously I'll know that you know have a lot of knowledge in this area. So that is something that can impress the interviewer. And of course, make sure you know to analyze the complexities of the algorithms and data structures that you're writing. Because often I see people being able to solve the problem, but when I ask them to write down the complexities, then they struggle. So make sure you also practice that while you're practicing coding. And then the design. Uh, uh, so when I present the problem to the person, uh, I see how they are able to break down that problem into smaller chunks, and then slowly create a design, like put the different things together and create a design. Um, yeah, and then slowly incrementally improve the design. And I also want to make sure the design is working. So that is important. So design is where your problem solving skills are assessed. And then comprehension and communication. When a problem is presented to you, make sure you understand the problem properly. Make sure you ask a lot of clarifying questions to the interviewer. Sometimes when I present a problem to the person, they just right away start coding the solution for the problem, and halfway when they're halfway through, they just get stuck, and then they ask me some clarification, and they have to like rewrite the entire solution. So make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure you ask a lot of questions and get all your doubts clarified. If possible, also like tell the question back in the way you understand to the interviewer, and make sure you got it right before you solve the problem. So you must first understand the problem properly, and then the next thing is that you must be able to clearly communicate your approach to the interviewer. If you're going to tell them that, see, your approach, I can, and if you're able to clearly communicate your approach, I can pinpoint that, see, you're making a mistake over here. This is not the right way to um, are you people able to hear me?
Suprabha, yes, you can proceed.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry, I got disconnected briefly. Yeah, I was talking about yeah, clearly communicating. Um, yeah, so if you're able to explain your approach to me well, then I can definitely pinpoint the problems with that approach, and that can be rectified early on rather than like writing the full solution for it and then finding the mistake in the approach. So make sure you keep all of that in mind, and then efficacy. The pace at which a person is able to solve the problem. If I'm giving you a really easy problem, and if you take the entire 45 minutes of the interview to solve that problem, then I would obviously not be impressed with that. So you should be able to solve the problem at the right pace, um, and you should try to get as much less hints and guidance as possible. Clarifications, make sure you ask a lot of clarifications, but some people just stop in the middle and ask me, see, I don't know how to proceed, and they ask me for answers. uh, so if I'm going to give you that, I'm also going to put that on my feedback, and it's not going to look very good on your feedback. So make sure you just try for some time, but if you're truly stuck, then okay, then you can try to ask for some minor help from the interviewer, but don't look for a lot of hand holding, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's being evaluated, so you must show something from your side. So these are the main things that is look for when you are solving the coding challenge. So keep all of this in mind, even when you're practicing, and also before you do your interviews. It's it's going to help you a lot in performing well in the interviews. So I think I've covered all the content for this talk. Now I'll answer some of the questions that you have sent me. I'll try to answer as much as possible. If time permits, we will also have more interaction at the end. So, someone has asked, I want to become a data analyst, what to do? Okay. So if you not just data analyst, whatever you want to become, whatever area you want to specialize, to start with, you have to do some courses related to it. Try to get some theoretical knowledge, and then try to build some projects out of it. If you're able to build some projects out of it and put that on your resume, then you can showcase that and get more opportunities. If you are able to get an internship, then it's really good. And with that internship, you can also get more work experience. Yeah. So whatever it may be, someone has asked how to become a hardware engineer. So the same thing applies. First, try to master the theory, and then try to build something. Doing projects is also, gaining more experience in applying the skills and the knowledge that you have gained. With that experience, you can gain more opportunities to gain more experience, and this is a cycle that will eventually take you where you want to go. Is it difficult to adapt to work in Google? So I would say doing masters has actually helped me prepare for working at Google, because masters is a lot more hectic than bachelors. Um, so like throughout the semester, you would have to consistently keep putting in your best effort. Um, with bachelors, usually the internals does not have a lot of weightage. The final exams is the one that matters the most. So usually people prepare like a few weeks before the final exam, and even if they don't study for the entire semester, then they end up getting good grades. But that's usually not the case with masters. Throughout the semester, you will have different assignments, courses, and projects. You need to perform well in all of that in order to get a good grade. So I think that prepared me for that. But if you are ready to put in a lot of effort into preparing for Google, and if you're able to clear the interview, I think you'll also be able to adapt to work at Google. And the minimum CGPA to get a merit scholarship. So CGPA, I mean, to specifically answer your question, there is no minimum CGPA that you need to get a merit scholarship. So in order to get an admit or to get a scholarship at top university, or any university in US or anywhere else, all of your application is looked. Like from your GRE, TOEFL scores, from your resume, from your projects, work experience, your letter of recommendation, and your SOP. For people who don't know what SOP is, it is an essay that you write, like why you want to pursue this degree, what is the experience, and all of that. So everything is looked at. If you have a very good CGPA, will you get a scholarship or an admit? I don't think so. But if you don't have like a excellent CGPA, you have like a average CGPA, but your overall application is really strong, then your chances are good. So everything is looked at. Just having a good CGPA is not enough, but it's also important that you try to maintain a decent CGPA throughout your BE. And then what are the specialized master degree courses for the computer science students? Actually, there are a lot of concentrations. Almost all the universities have some form of data science or machine learning concentration. Some have robotics concentration. Some have business analyst concentration. So it really depends on the university. Each university can be different, and each university can have specific specializations. So what I would suggest to you is that um, go look at find out some universities, go look at their pages and find out what courses that they are offering. Once you know different domains, just pick one or two domains that you seriously care about. And then once you know those domains, then you can start looking at what universities are offering specializations in those domains. So that is the way to find out. So even if I'm going to give you some information, that is not going to be up to date, because each and every university is offering new specializations like every semester, I believe. So that keeps changing. So I'll leave that to you to explore. And then the next three questions: what skills to develop for placement? Do they ask for course certificate in placements and which skills to improve to place in Google? I think I've covered all of those things in my talk, so I don't want to go over it again. So we can move to the next set of questions. Okay, I had someone ask why abroad, why not India? They asked me a lot of things about Indian economy and politics and all of that. I do not personally. I do not have a lot of experience about Indian economy or politics, so I'm not the right person to ask those questions. But I'll just share whatever knowledge I have. First of all, you need not look at going abroad to study or working abroad in a very negative sense, because I know a lot of people who have come here to study. They have worked here for a few years. They have gained all the experience and exposure working with top professionals and researchers, and they have gone back to India and have created their own startups. So all of the experience has helped them to revolutionize and contribute to their country. So you don't have to look at it in a negative sense. Even if you are more focused on working in India, you still will gain something by coming here to study. um, yeah, and you have also asked me about how to start a company, or if I can participate in politics and all of that. Whatever you do, make sure it is a calculated risk. Make sure you have something to fall back on. uh, so that's all I can say. And if you want to contribute, you need not, like, politics is not the only way to contribute to the society. I think you can also be part of some NGOs. You need not be like a full time. You need not work there full time. You can also do it part time. You can like have a job which you can use to earn a living, because everyone need money to survive. And you can also contribute to the society by participating in the activities that these NGOs do. Okay, I think those are the questions that were asked. There were also other questions asked about studying and working in Europe. Personally, I have no experience related to that, because I never considered doing masters in Europe. My friend Shrishti, who's giving a talk on Friday, did her masters in Europe and is currently working in Germany. So please save your questions for her. She's the right person to answer those. I'm getting a lot of questions now. I think I'll maybe start answering some of those. Right. I think I answered the first one, how to become a hardware engineer. Someone has asked me, how did you get into masters in Florida? Okay. I applied there and got rejected. Okay. I've admitted from two other universities. Oh, okay. So I just went through the usual process. I didn't do anything different. Uh, I just took my GRE and TOEFL exams. And then I got letters of recommendations from two of my professors and from a manager at Inotics, under whom I did my internship. And then I filled out the application form, and then yeah, I submitted my statement of purpose, which I had told you earlier, is an essay that you write for every program that you apply to. I also applied for 10 universities, and I didn't get I didn't get admit from all of them. So it really depends on the university and what you're looking for. As I told, they look at your entire application. And some university pay more attention to one thing, and some, pay attention to other things. So maybe you lack in something that maybe University of Florida is looking for. But of course, you did get two other admits, so congrats on that. And moving to the next question, do Google acquire us only with bachelor degrees? Yeah, of course, there are a lot of people who do their bachelors and get into Google. But in India, it can be a little harder in India. The reason why is that there are very limited teams and limited number of positions, so it can be even harder to get a call. But that doesn't mean that you cannot do that. Even if you don't get a call right away, if you just keep building on your experience, and if you like switch keep switching to better and better company, then eventually you can get into Google. So it's not that doing masters is the only route. That is also possible, but make sure you build on the skills that I've told in the presentation. Okay. What about Zoho? Okay, I think you're asking how to get offer from Zoho. I think for Zoho also you need to prepare from cracking the coding interview and things like that. Yeah, I think the same skill set applies even if you're going to apply for Zoho. And if you are strong with these skills, you will be able to get an offer from Zoho as well. Feedback link is going to be shown. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, Scala. Someone has asked about Scala, and if it's beneficial. Um, I don't use Scala on a regular basis. I did spend some time learning Scala, but I don't know about the current scenario. I shouldn't be talking about something that I'm not very familiar with. Yeah, but obviously, like, make sure do some research and find out if there are anything that is new, that is better, or that is widely used. If it's more widely used, then you probably want to spend more time learning that. How many times you applied for interview in Google? Okay, I just applied once. I applied for internship, but I was not very prepared at that time, so I couldn't land an internship. My application was in the Google's database, so a recruiter contacted me for a full-time opportunity, and that's how I got interview with Google. Sure, I will share the PPT with you. Is it the right time to do master there in USA or defer it? Okay, that is a very good question, Supriya. So if you already have an admit, I would actually recommend that you defer it unless you want to do the course online. But doing it online, you don't get all the exposure that you gain by actually being in USA. But if you're going to apply for fall 2020, sorry, going to apply for fall 2021, if you're preparing to apply, then I think it should be fine. I believe it will be fine by then, but even if not, you get to defer your admit by 6 months or 1 year. So you are still in a good position if you're planning to do masters. You will not like stop on your efforts to pursue masters. At least that is what I believe. Okay, how did you apply to Google from your college? Was it campus placements? Okay. I want to tell you all, there's no such thing like campus placements in US. There are things called career fairs. So how it is different is, so in India, usually there's a concept called campus placements, where a bunch of companies come to the campus, and if you meet minimum requirements, for example, if you have a certain CGPA, for example, about 70% or 75%, then they let you take the interviews. So everybody who is above that percentage is free to take the interviews. But that's not the case with career fairs. So in career fairs, that is widely happens across US. There are a group of companies coming to the campus, but um, but you are not guaranteed an interview call from those companies. You would have to actually go talk to the person who's representing the company. You will have to provide them your resume, and then you will have to pitch yourself. You'll have to literally sell yourself to them. You have to tell them why you're good at, why they have to actually interview you, and why you're excited about their company and the opportunity. You'll have to tell them, and if they're impressed, you will get back a call. So it might not seem a lot different, but here you will have to put in all the effort. And the how I got call from Google was through by applying online. I think I applied via LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a lot of job postings, so you can look at that and apply to different companies. Hmm.
During college days, is it possible to
Yeah.
do any kind of internships in Google?
Um,
Either
yeah,
in
it is
online or
possible.
like,
Yeah, it is possible. Online internship.
during the
Uh,
college days.
yeah. Online, okay. Usually, because with due to the COVID-19 and the things that are happening now, almost all the interns are, like doing the internships remotely. No one is doing it, no one is coming to the campus, even we are not going to the campus. But usually, I think remote internships are happening only now, but usually that doesn't happen. But of course, it is possible to get internship when you're in, internship at Google when you're in college itself. But make sure you have like a really strong profile in order for them to give you a call. I hope I answered the question. Okay. Hmm. Okay. This a question about Google summer. Okay. I think summer Google code. Okay. What is that? Okay. Can you clarify? Many of my cousins are doing masters in US and European countries. All of them told me that though they were good in their performance, they faced a lot of racism. Did you face any such situation? Okay. I personally didn't face any racism. Um, uh, that might. Um, so most of my peers in my university, that is, I mean, like where I did my masters, were immigrants. They were either Indians or Chinese. So I don't know. I didn't face any racism. I don't know if they were from, if I had majority of my peers from different countries. I don't know if I would have faced any racism. But as far as work is concerned, Google and almost all the companies here have really strict policies, and I have not faced any kind of racism whatsoever or any kind of discrimination or bias inside my workplace, that I can guarantee. Okay, does a referral help in getting noticed by Google? Okay. Um, Referral does help in most companies. Um, it is easier to get a call from a few companies if you have a referral. But as far as Google is concerned, referral doesn't play a huge role. What plays a huge role is your actual interview performance, because I provided like a excellent recommendation, like excellent referral for one of my friends He is also really good at coding, but then I don't know, maybe he was not lucky enough, or I don't know, he couldn't clear the interview. So my referral didn't help at that time. So even if I'm going to give you an excellent recommendation, what matters the most is your actual interview performance. And for people asking me referral, please also know that I mean, it will only add some value if I have actually worked with you. If not, if I'm not able to justify the recommendation that I provide, uh, you know, with what I've with my experience with you, then it's not going to add any value. Uh, so it is better for people uh, to who have actually worked with me to ask me referral. Otherwise, it is not going to add any value. This is like the truth behind referrals, at least as far as Google is concerned. So I just wanted you to know that. Okay. Haven't handshaked. Someone asked me if I have handshaked Sundar Pichai. I haven't handshaked. I've seen him in person, but I've not been able to get closer. Okay. I see more questions coming. So how are we doing on the time?
Supraba, there are a lot of questions are coming.
Okay, sir. So do I keep answering, or like how are we doing on the time, sir?
Supraba, if maybe if we are crossing the time now, time is 10:45.
Okay, sir.
So that what's your time there?
It's 10:15, sir. 10:15 p.m.
Okay, fine. Okay. So are you comfort with answering the questions?
Okay, sir.
Or we can collect the questions, we can give the answers to the participants later.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I think there are only like a couple of questions
okay,
that
then
I
you
have
can address. Then you can address that couple of questions. Then we will try to conclude.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Perfect, sir. How to get a proper internship, because it's very difficult to find an internship. Yeah, yeah, it can be a little difficult, and particularly in India, there's like a lot of competition because everybody is an engineer, and there are like limited opportunities. So you definitely need to work a lot in order to actually be able to get a call. But once you get a call, I think uh, it is, I mean, yeah, it can be fairly straightforward if you practice the right skills. And have I faced any bullying in US? No, not at all. I have not faced any bullying at all. Definitely not in my workplace, not at all in my workplace, and even outside, I have personally not faced any bullying. And for girls who are concerned about safety and all of that,
Suprabha? Suprabha, any issues?
I guess I got disconnected again. Am I being audible? Actually, I'm not able to see the questions that were already posted. So I think if you have more questions, you can probably send it to Karthikeyan sir, and I'll try to answer those later. All the questions have disappeared from my chat.
Okay, Suprabha.
Okay, sir.
Suprabha, your presentation was over, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Okay,
finished, sir.
okay.
It's all done.
So you just take 2 minutes rest because before we are going to close the session, okay.
Yes, sir.
I wish to say something about your contribution in the department when you have studied, because I got to share with you as well as for the students. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Is it okay, Suprabha? Just for 2 minutes, you just take some relax.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Students, as I have already told, Suprabha is one of our best student in our teaching career. Okay. So I wish to say the experience about the Indo-US Robo League 2014. I think her team members are 4 team members: Suprabha, Vijay Pandi, Shaumya, and one more person, Suprabha.
Ashok, sir. Ashok.
Ashok.
Ashok Hariyar.
I think you're junior. You're junior.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Really, they have worked hard as a team to develop a line follower robot from the scratch. Really, I had a wonderful experience with her team during the developing of line follower robot. Even in our PG lab, we just prepare a chart. We have developed that robot, and then we have just keep the robot in that particular chart. We have worked a very interesting effort we have put. Okay. So anyway, after the completion of the project, we went to IIT Bombay with 3 or 4 teams, I think. Am I correct, Suprabha?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Really, the wonderful experience because the contribution about the particular IURL from the Suprabha and her team, really we never forget that. The same thing was reminded by our HOD also after that inaugural address given by our HOD. Really, our HOD also very appreciating your efforts, Suprabha, during those days. Okay. Really, in that particular competition held at IIT Bombay, you won the 5th level, national level 5th position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Really, those days are unforgettable. Okay, really, your team, especially Vijay Pandi, Vijay Pandi is appreciated your contribution for this alma mater. I have chatted with Vijay Pandi. Okay, so he is also willing to participate in this alumni talk series. Really, it's a wonderful moment for us. Anyway, I will plan to share some of the photos we have taken in the tomorrow's event because Suprabha, are you there? Okay, so my dear students, I am expecting the same contribution, the same effort put by Suprabha during her studies. We are expecting the same contribution from you also. Like Suprabha, we are expecting some of you, not some of you, mostly all of you, you just try to enter into the tech giant after completion of your 4-year BE degree program. Okay, so Suprabha, I think. Okay, I hope there are some network issue with Suprabha. So we'll wait for another 2 minutes. So hopefully,
can you hear me now?
Yes, Suprabha. I think there are some network issues there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Anyway,
Sir,
yes, Suprabha. Please.
thank you so much for talking about our experience with IIT Bombay, sir. You were of great help, sir. You and Shanti ma'am were a huge support to us. Without you, I don't think we would have been able to go there. You even provided even expense our travel and provided us as a small amount to help us build the robot. It was very
Yes,
helpful.
Suprabha. Yes, Suprabha.
So thank you so much for all the efforts, sir.
Okay.
I'm very happy that to talk with the juniors, after a very long time. This is
Yes,
my first
Suprabha. Thank
interaction,
you.
and I hope uh, a lot of them gain some knowledge out of my talk.
Okay.
I wish
Sure,
to
sure.
see many of them end up in their dream companies or pursue whatever careers that they dream of. I wish them all success. So all of you, thank you so much for coming to listen to me. I'm very happy to talk to all of you. Um, also stay safe and stay home. Thank you so much for
Okay,
this
Suprabha.
opportunity.
We'll just close formally. Okay. So
Okay, sure.
really, I have to thank our alumni, Ms. Supraba, software engineer, Google Mountain View, California, for her wonderful talk for the around 2 hours. Okay. It's really a wonderful talk. Even though she's somewhat busy with her schedule, she has accepted our invitation. She has joined in this alumni talk series. I hope that her talk will be definitely very useful for our present students. As Suprabha told, we are expecting the same kind of effort from present students, from you all. You can prepare yourself from her suggestions and guidance, what she has given during this 90 minutes talk. Okay. So you just put your effort, like her passion is coding. Like that, everybody, you also, you just fix up your passion as coding, try to participate in all kinds of coding events, you equip yourself. And I have to convey my sincere thanks to our pro chairman, Rotarian RSK Raghuram sir, Tirumati K. Dhanalakshmi Ammal, our principal, Dr. D. Vasudevan sir, for their continuous support towards organizing these kinds of alumni events in our college. And I express my sincere thanks to our head of the department, Dr. D. Shanti ma'am, for her continuous support and guidance towards organizing these kinds of events. And I express my sincere thanks to my colleagues, especially the moderator of this event, Mr. V. Nandakumar, Assistant Professor CS Department, for his continuous support for organizing this event. And finally, I have to thank all the PSNA CET participants as well as external participants for attending this alumni talk series on building a resilient career. So once again, I thank you all for this alumni talk series attending. So thank you all. So Suprabha, shall we close?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you
Suprabha,
so
thank
much,
you.
sir.
So thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
participants. If you're having any queries, you can mail to me. My mail ID is maybe will be available with you. You can post your queries. I will share with Suprabha and clarify you. Okay. So thank you. Please give your feedback in the link given in the chat window. You can give your feedback. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.